Cruising with Kayfabe. I'm Mongo.
Emily.
And today we are on AEW's Next Wave. Now, why are we calling it Next Wave? Well, unfortunately, Swerve and Ospreay are both set to be out indefinitely, so there's two spots, if not more, up for some TV time, up for some kind of like next man up, but next woman up. I didn't want to obviously be gender specific, so figured keeping with cruising theme, it's the Next Wave.
I like it. I think that it's going to be really interesting to see just who kind of gets the spotlight and takes advantage of it. We've seen Queen Amanada really step up and shine through recent, you know,
Situations.
yeah, just random things that came about for her to really take it and run. And that's exactly what she did with this ball. And I've really enjoyed Queen's run. And I'm excited to see where her and Tekla go. But we know those stories.
Everyone hates Tekla right now. She got attacked by Jamie Hayter too. I think everyone's kind of hunting the spider. Everybody wants a piece of the spider, but not to jump ahead on any of those, but I mean, right there, there's some women that are that could take some TV time, and that's the big thing is you have Ospreay who was in, they would have a ring segment and a match, so 2 to 3 segments. Swerve is probably 2 to 3 segments, so even if you're not saying replacing them per se is like that role, replacing that time, kind of creating. So we're talking about people who they're already getting a push, but now kind of getting the push to the next level.
Yeah, and you want to talk about people that opened the show and closed the show. So now you're looking for people that have that same big feel energy
Or
that
can
the
build up
fans
to it.
can get behind. And that's what the main component behind this is today, is talking about who the fans can truly get behind. And part of what we love to do is really get to know the wrestler. We don't want to support you if you're an asshole. We want to support like the fun loving people. Like we want to support
Genuine.
people that exactly, they're genuine, they're authentic.
I get carny, but like at the end of the day, if you're almost living in the realm of a heel because you choose to be an asshole, it's a turn off for us. So it's more we want the genuine. We're not saying kiss our ass. We don't expect anything as fans, but it's more like if I just say hi to someone, it shouldn't seem like I'm just pissed. I'm not coming up with 6 Funkos at the airport at 4 in the morning. I'm not a weirdo, but like sometimes we've all had those experiences at conventions where you're like, oh, hey, to someone, and they couldn't even be bothered, like, not even look up to, from your autograph. And we won't get into that, but it's like, even just a simple, hey, how you doing? Like, just a cordial 5 seconds, because, I mean, that could mean everything. So, yeah, you're 100% right. It's people you want to get behind. And the list we kind of came up with funny because we both, and obviously I keep rambling here, but we both wrote one down, so we both kind of have different people. And I think we came in the middle on a lot, but we have some surprises.
Yeah, and I think that what's funny is a lot of the people that we have that are the same are for different reasons.
I think that's funny too because Emily is very much, ooh, I want to see someone who's twists them like a pretzel and does all kinds of cool flippy shit. And it's nothing wrong with that. I love flippy shit. Does all the fun stuff, entertaining.
The athleticism.
And then I'm like, give me that gritty badass who's going to tear up the ring and be that worker.
And he cares about what they're saying. I care about what they're doing.
And
And
together,
you care about both. But, like, all in all, if we're watching, he's like, shh, 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 shh. Like, I gotta hear this. And I'm like, wait, I gotta see this.
but it's great because together it makes like that whole piece of the puzzle. You get to see everything. And I think that's where one of the first ones I have, and I want to talk about someone who already is getting a monster push, but I think it's going to really elevate more, especially after having such an amazing summer, winning the G1 Takeshita. So first, I'm going to ask you, why do you think he's poised for this, and where do you see him kind of going?
I think that he is really, really taking off. And you see him turning into a face. I don't know if I see that quite literally. I see him more just being very neutral and just kind of meandering around.
So gray zone.
Yeah, I definitely could see him just kind of finding a new home because it doesn't feel like he's staying with the Don Callis family. It seems like Don likes to pin his people against each other to see how far they will go, and Takeshita's not about that.
Well, and that's you bring up a great point. Why I kind of chose him for one of my next man up is because not only did he win the G1, not only has he beaten Kenny Omega 1-on-1, and he's been the guy, and he's fought Ospreay and beaten Ospreay. it's because of the story Don Callis told is telling. And we wrote this on our page, but essentially, after he betrayed Omega, he's never found his Omega. It's that white whale. He's chasing the next belt collector. He's chasing Omega. He brought in Will Ospreay to destroy Omega, and then Ospreay didn't want to win the way he did. He didn't want to stab people with screwdrivers. He didn't want to cheat. He didn't want to be that. And then he brought in Kyle Fletcher, and he turned Kyle Fletcher against Ospreay because Fletcher, was the better one. He was going to be the one that's going to surpass him. And then he brought in Takeshita, in between that too, to try to usurp Kenny Omega. But then he brought in Okada again to usurp Kenny Omega. Now he's glazing up Okada the same way he was glazing up Takeshita. So that leads into why you don't think he's going to be in the group, and I agree. And that's why I think it's going to be a face turn, because it's following that same path Ospreay took for his face turn.
Yeah, and I think that it does make sense. I just can't see where he's going to fall, because there's so much happening that if he's not with the Don Callis family, I wonder what will happen.
He's taking that unified title off Okada. So Takeshita's going to take that unified title off. That's where I think it's going. I think they planted the seeds when Okada joined the family, and Don Callis is like, you're better than this person. You're better than Omega. You're better than that person. And he's just listing off all the New Japan, essentially Mount Rushmore. He's listing off all the Mount Rushmore in wrestling, and he's like, you're better than this guy. But he said that exact same thing to Takeshita. So he's always comparing, and that's Don's downfall. And I think Takeshita, he's getting that momentum. And when that face turn happens, I think or even if it goes into the gray, like you're saying, when he's no longer in the Don Callis family, he's going to get that pop. He's going to get those matches again, because think about Revolution. We talk about it because we were there. Think about, even though we wanted Ospreay to win, we were still behind Takeshita. So wasn't the crowd when he dropped Ospreay on his ass, when he hit that
literally
the Blue Thunder out of nowhere, and just the chemistry he shows with Omega. He's definitely poised, because he can go with everyone. I mean, his G1 was incredible. He had a great run last year, made it to the playoffs. This year he had a better run. He won. He didn't have a bad match in the G1, and I think that shows to versatility, and you need that for this, the next person up. They have to be versatile.
very true.
Speaking of versatile, my next up I have is Bandito, who right now has been in my top 3 for Wrestler of the Year. He's very fluid in the ring, and I know you enjoy his multitude of styles and how he can kind of work with everyone.
Yeah, he changes it up like Kenny Omega depending on who he's going up against, and he's incredible in multi-man matches as well. And that's not always easy to do when you're used to being a singles wrestler. It's hard to share that spotlight and share different move sets, and I'm very intrigued with the luchador style that AEW is bringing in more of. We already have it, but we're getting more. And that's my bread and butter. That's my
love
favorite.
Your flicky shit.
And I think that Bandito is hopefully gracefully going to lose the Ring of Honor title.
We'll have to see, because they got to set someone up for it. But yeah,
I want to see him go for bigger. I want to see him go
100%.
harder. I want to see him more in AEW. And there's nothing wrong with him being in Ring of Honor. I just, again, want to see him shine. We all want Athena to shine more.
And that's what the Seamless episode is. I'm glad you hit it on the head, and that's why we want to see him. We want to see him transition off Ring of Honor into AEW full time. So this is an opportunity, next man up, the next wave for Bandito Trishan, because go back to the original All In 7 years ago today as we record this. He's part of the main event. Bandito is teaming with Rey Mysterio, like a lucha legend, Rey Fenix. You have Bandito wrestling around the world, being well known and well regarded, in Ring of Honor. Then we finally get him in AEW, and unfortunately he broke his arm, and then he comes back with that great Wanted Man gimmick after being out almost 2 years. And he instantly starts a feud with Jericho, and unfortunately gets another concussion. But we got to see him on the cruise and see him interact. We got to talk to him, and he was very humble. So, again, going back to, we enjoy him. We saw how much he appreciates this. And like you said, now him teaming with Brody, it's fantastic. I thought Brodito was going to be fodder. I thought when Brodito was in the tournament, they're just setting them up to like eat a pin by the Bucks or eat a pin by this person. And then we get to the, triple threat, essentially, tag team match. And you're like, it's FTR's match. You go back and listen to our prediction episode. No one.
all were like FTR.
And even in the comments, people were like FTR, FTR.
We wanted Brodito. We love Brodito.
It happened, and I just remember sitting there going, well, shit. Like, it wasn't anger, it wasn't sadness, it was, well, shit.
Who'd have thought of all belts to be traded?
It would be the tag team.
It would be the tag team.
This is a great opportunity because the contrasting styles of Brody King and Bandito help, but it's showing more. I mean, this Resident Heat Bandito is really showing out. I mean, at Ring of Honor, him and Heshiero put on a fucking banger of a match for the world title. He hasn't had a bad match. The whole entire summer, he's just been killing it. Him and Takeshita at the previous Ring of Honor pay-per-view, it's just, he understands the assignment, and he's someone else I think Tony's very high on, so I can see him being next in the spotlight. Like you said, you want him off Ring of Honor, you know, you have the TNT title, go after a Kyle Fletcher, you have the world title. I mean, not saying right now, but next year he could be.
He's our tag team champion. And again, like,
give him more. Give him all the gold.
I am excited to see Buddy come back. However, I don't want Brodito to end because you've got Brody King, who is ginormous in the ring, and he brings that presence. He brings the dog woofing that y'all love.
He brings out the dog in him. You can say that.
Yeah, sure. The barking is just too much for me.
Oof.
Ick.
I know, it totally is. I won't do that again.
So for me, like, Brody really has come so far, and to see him teaming up with Bandito has been just absolutely fantastic.
I think so too. I think it's been great. I'm excited to see more. I think we have a picture of Brody King, but if not, it can be our Brody King moment as well. The chemistry they have, it's great because who do you see him? You know, Outrunners. You know, they'd have good chemistry with. We saw him team with the Outrunners on the cruise, so there could be that little they don't have to have a full blown blood feud, but they can have that friendly rivalry. Like, we know each other well, and like you said, Brody being that big guy in the ring, being that ominous presence, like just the way they have their finish where he basically monkey flips him into the flip. Like, it's incredible.
I know why I like this so much, and it's because it gives me Luchasaurus and Jack Perry with Marco Stunt. It gives me that, like, big push.
Well, then we'll go back to Harley. Well, why don't we go there? Why don't we go with, I'm going to move them over here so that way they don't cover anything. Why don't we go with Luchasaurus, a.k.a. Killswitch, and Jack Perry? So, Luchasaurus came back, Killswitch came back. However, even the crowd's not accepting. Everyone's on Team Emily here because at Forbidden Door, they were all chanting Luchasaurus at him. So your dinosaur is back.
I've got a sore ass over it, okay? I am ready for Luchasaurus to be back. And we've all been talking about how in the IWC that doctor had to be Jack Perry. That jacket, everything about that just made so much damn sense, and they left before Luchasaurus woke up.
Listen, y'all, she's a Swiftie. When you want to talk about looking for Easter eggs and clues and everything, she's going to look at the outfit. She's going to look at the color. She's going to look at the date. She's going to look at the clock. If there's something you can manipulate in the picture, she's going to look at it. So you best believe she saw that jacket and was like, I know those sleeves. And was going through Instagram and trying to figure out it was Jack Perry and confirm it for herself. Even though the internet was saying it too, she's like, I got to look. And she did. It's what she does. That's why she does her deep dives.
And I've watched this video so many times. Again, he wakes up after whoever it is, even if it's not Perry. Luchasaurus has no idea who the fuck brought him back. So who knows if this is going to be where Luchasaurus comes back to us, is because Jack Perry comes out and is like, I did this. You want to know who's responsible? I did this. But how long has it been? I really don't know.
It's been like over 200 plus days since Jack Perry's been gone.
No. I'm talking them together.
Oh, it's been almost 2 years. It's close to 2 years,
if not more.
Because you got to think he had the heel turn, and then Christian Cage, took over at Killswitch. They had their blow off match, and they kind of both went their separate ways and went their separate feuds. Because Hook and Jack Perry feuded for almost the entire summer of 2024. So yeah, it was about that, and then obviously his suspension, then Lucha being injured, Jack Perry still kind of But the Bucks are on the outs with him. I mean, we saw them bitch button him. They sent his ass to voicemail when he called. He's been at home making weapons. And that's where I knew you were onto something. Because I'm like, what has he been featuring a lot on his Instagram is him making knives and him making different sheaths and him making metal.
He's like a caveman.
Almost like blacksmithing.
Yeah.
And because he already did it with his TNT title we saw last year. And like you said, he could be the person, but he could be arriving for the right moment because look at, and I'm not going to say kill switch anymore because I'm going to go with what the people want. The people wanted Luchasaurus. So Luchasaurus was pissed off at Kip at Forbidden Door. I mean, he tagged him in and his gauntlet cut his face open. And you saw Kip pissed off this week saying, you stupid dinosaur. And Luchasaurus, if it wasn't for Mother Wayne, was going to go after him because, listen, he took that shit from Christian. He ain't going to take that shit from Kip.
And, like, Mama Wayne, it sounds so wrong. I don't like it. She really put them in their place.
I feel like Mother's too prim and proper.
Like, yeah, like she is just mothering them and really truly honing in on that brotherly essence that they do have. But Luchasaurus isn't here for that. He's not vibing with Kip or Nick.
And I think it's the downfall. Eventually, you're going to see Kip and Nick into a feud. I think that's the break of the patriarchy or matriarchy or whatever we're calling them now. And
whatever that is now, it's not going to stay.
When I called Luchasaurus
Kip
returning,
and Nick may stay.
When I called Luchasaurus on the prediction show with Hitting the Turnbuckle, a big reason is because he has unfinished business with Christian Cage. Right now, Christian Cage is helping Edge, aka Copeland, and they're doing their tag run against FTR, kind of gets him. But Christian's got a lot of enemies waiting too. Copeland's going to have to help him with that. So he's gonna need a tag partner. So Jack Perry come back and make sense because you could have the Jurassic Express because Jack Perry has some bones to pick with Copeland too for taking his TNT title. So there's a story you can tell, and that's a great thing about AEW is they use their veterans in a way to kind of help bring this. So Jack Perry has been the unfortunate end of the suspension and everything else, and the scapegoat not being capitalized on. So there's ways to fix it, and Luchasaurus has injuries. So I think those two are poised to stay with, and that's why I put them on our list. And it was funny because we both talked about who you're putting on there, and I was like, I'm putting Luchasaurus, and I know it's going to pop her. I know that she's going to be so excited that we got Luchasaurus.
Another thing that's popped me.
I mean, I was absolutely excited when Harley returned to All In, and then obviously just recently on Dynamite, because when she went out, you're like, that little something that was missing from those backstage segments, that little something from the ring, and her ring work has really improved. So I'm going to let you go. So your thoughts on where she kind of slips in and how she fits in this new dynamic, especially this residency. She can really get that crowd that's going to be there for a couple more episodes really behind her.
So something about Harley is she's gravitational. She has a pull around her. No matter what it is she's doing, you are going to watch. 1, she's beautiful. 2, she's funny. And 3, she's fucking talented. The girl can literally do it all. She can sing, she can ventriloquist, she can wrestle, she can model, she can do literally everything.
You know when you create a wrestler on WWE 2K or Fight Forever and you have like the sliders for like your strength, your charisma, she's at like 100 on all of her sliders.
And I feel like it's effortless. Everything she does, she learns fast. If you have never heard one of her interviews, just go listen because she is non-stop funny and entertaining. Everything about her is just, she hits it on the head every time.
And then she just had her QTV segment. They redid that for
the
Ring of Honor pay-per-view for Paul Walter Hauser and QT. And her famous "roll the footage, governor" line. She got like the little things she does, and her ring work has really improved. And like we always say, she's the Chelsea Green. She can wrestle and she's in the comedic role. And I think she has a chance to kind of help solidify that mid-card more. Which they seem to be focusing on. We won't jump too far ahead, but we seem to be focusing on women's tag team titles. So she could be, I mean, right now, her and Anna Jay, her and Tay have friendships, but her and Anna Jay, she's clinging on to her for dear life. And, the Death Rider's been lurking around that too with her and Statlander. So she's really clinging on to Stat.
I think eventually we're going to see Statlander team up with someone else from the Galaxies. There's my hint. I think that I want to see that happen, but Harley and Statlander right now are amazing and 2 peas in a pod. There's nothing I don't like about them.
And how come we're not calling them Catlander? That was my first thing, because Harley Cat and Catlander.
I like Catlander. Space Kitty.
Space Kitty is great. It reminds me of that meme
so much.
where remember the old like the cat with the
Yes.
little rainbow. That's what Space Kitty reminds me of. Insert that right there.
Harley has so many different things that she can do with the mask as well. Again, she does everything fantastically. There's not one thing that she doesn't do right.
No, I agree. I think Harley's future is very bright. I think that she's someone that has the tools. She's, Anthony Bones called himself a 5-tool player, and that means you have all the tools to play every position. And I think Harley is that 5-tool player. She is that person.
6.
Definitely. I feel like no matter what she does, she strikes gold. And I think her and Mina, I can't wait for them to have more interactions because they're just going to be ridiculous and goofy and sensual. And her and Tony Storm need to link up in the timeless stuff. She has so much potential. She can run it back with Mercedes again. They're going back to Australia, so they're going to push Harley when they go to Australia next year. And they're going back to London in December. So there are a lot of places where she's really over and the crowds really love her. So I think that's why she's kind of the next woman up, ready for this next wave, because she's someone that people will tune in to watch.
And she doesn't need a championship. And that's another thing with our entire list of people is that they don't need the championship to be number one.
And they can be in those fields. Like, I could see Harley, like, whoever dethrones Mercedes, I could see Harley eventually getting the TBS title, because can you imagine her with, I got my goal, baby, and her just running around with a TBS title? It would be must-see TV if she was running around Collision every week with a TBS title.
Not just that, but...
Dynamite, excuse me.
You could easily see Harley also doing media. I think that she would kill it in media, and I think that is something that we need more of, and AEW does so wonderful at showcasing their talent on the news, on all these different
these morning
things.
shows, and they're really getting better at putting them out into like the sporting events that are around or the charity events, and it's smart getting out in the community. We were saying the other night, we noticed a lot more kids are in the crowds for AEW, which is great because that's what creates the next generation of fans. That's what's going to be the next wave of fans is, like our kiddo goes to the shows with us, goes on the cruise. We go on the cruise. We found out it was like 45 plus kids growing from the years prior. So seeing that young generation come up, they're going to have people like Harley to cling on because she's wearing a kitty mask and she's funny and she has a puppet and she's silly and she's goofy and she's a positive role model. So like, that's what you need. And I think that's another kind of criteria for some of these people is they're relatable to people. And some people are like, oh, I don't see the appeal of this wrestler. That's fine. But I think with this list, there's at least someone for everyone.
So when you look back at basically like the entertainment world in this very moment, you have people like Ariana Grande started out with the bunny ears and the cat ears, and that really gravitated to people. And then you've got people that are like Sabrina Carpenter with the kisses on everything. And then you transition into the wrestling aspect. You've got the kids that dress up as Orange Cassidy. The kids dress up as Darby Allin. Harley has such a fun look that it's so fun to... I did it.
The fact that we were the only one on the boat who did, I was shocked just because how...
Yeah, I'm sorry, but how the hell was I the only one dressed up as Thunder Harley?
It was amazing. And speaking of amazing, here's one. I don't know if I told you. I kept one or two surprise. But someone on my list I think that's going to break out in these next few months, Ace motherfucking Austin.
He has to.
I think he was so underrated in TNA for what he did, and because people just they didn't see the matches, they just didn't see the stories. So he told fantastic stories in the ring in GCW. Was great in New Japan. We've seen him wrestle in the Indies. He has so much potential. I mean, he went toe to toe with Ricochet in his first match. He's already seems like he belongs, and that seems like this next crop of people that Tony's brought in, they almost feel like they were just slotted in, like they were just plugged and played for AEW, like they were made for AEW, and like they fit in. He's someone that fits in. He's got the style, he's got the charisma, and he's got your flippy shit and your strong style. Like he's everything you kind of want. And after you go, remind me, I want to kind of mention, like you were talking about the whole lucha style being introduced and strong style. There's a coach that was just signed that we can talk about after that maybe is why they've been going that way.
Oh, sweet. So part of Ace Austin for me is a lot of the other talent knows him already. That is a huge deal. When you have someone whose backstage morale is only going to profit and benefit everybody backstage already. You don't have someone coming in that's new, that's kind of shaking in their boots. You have someone that's like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, oh, hey, like,
vibe.
I know you already. Like, it's not somebody that is going to be uncomfortable around everyone else, because Ace belongs. He should have been here a long time ago, quite honestly. Like, very happy we saw Chris Bay and him team up, but also at the same time, I feel like he's been AEW bound for quite a while.
I think it was
That
just
X Division
right
run.
that right place, right time mentality. And when he left TNA, I was bummed because I liked watching him, and I was like, well, I don't know where he's gonna go. And then when he debuts on Collision, I was like, hell yeah! Like, it was just, there wasn't a whisper of like, oh, he might be signing with so and so, and it was a genuine surprise, and I'm glad it came to fruition. And I think he has such tools to be in that TNT division. He has such tools, like, to go against like a Fletcher. Like
I was just gonna say, I'm not somebody that looks at like the body of a wrestler typically, but when you look at Ace Austin, and he was in a match up against somebody else, Ricochet. Ricochet is known for his thighs. Ricochet's thighs are incredibly
second
muscular.
episode, she's focused on this, guys.
Okay, but because I thought that the pictures were edited. When I first saw his render, I was like, he looks like one of the...
She likes his thighs.
One of these. He looks like one of these. Like, something was, like, anatomically wrong in the picture. And then I looked on Instagram, and I was like, no.
This has been living in your mind for a while, hasn't it?
Because I don't understand how he went from, like...
Because he's
muscular
always been
to like, oh my god, but that's what Kyle Fletcher did recently as well. So like that bodybuilding aspect of wrestling, the beef of wrestling, this is fantastic.
This is fantastic for you. This is gold.
Beef. Like, I want to see him going up against the people like Will
I guess
Hobbs.
I know I gotta hit leg day more at the gym because I know what your focus is on.
I just was thoroughly impressed. Like, holy shit, what is this? I really truly thought it was
This is your
cartoony.
Adonis moment with that statue of the gods, and they're just like, it's a statuesque, and the shape and the sculpt. It's fantastic that you're fangirling. I love it.
And I was just genuinely amused. So again, thought he was like cartoony in that. So let's put him up against the bigger muscular
Proto
guy.
Star. Say his name, full name. Say his full name. The Proto Star, Kyle fucking Fletcher.
So yes, Kyle Fletcher. All these other, like, even Lance Archer.
And I like, we kind of segue here to Kyle Fletcher. He has been someone that when he first came in with Aussie Open, I was excited because watching them versus FTR was fantastic. Going back, kind of rediscovering them, New Japan run, because I didn't see them as much unless they were teaming with Will or United Empire. But seeing them really tear it up, especially after they won the IWGP tag titles from FTR, and really seeing that, okay, Mark Davis was like the Brody King. He's that strong guy. He's going to control the ring, throw people around. But then Kyle Fletcher just seemed so charismatic and so, like, he looked like a young Will Ospreay, like the way he moved. And then it was just natural. They had their great blow-off feud, the cage match, to him getting the TNT title run, to essentially taking out Dustin Rhodes, taking out a legend. Essentially, he's almost like on a legend killer type of run, legend killer gimmick, where he's finding his own.
It's really funny that you say that, because looking at his image, when he shed the hair, he built himself up. And I think that it's the transition of losing his hair truly changed
He shaped
him.
his whole personality. He shaped his whole character. He sculpted himself, went to the gym. He started focusing on a color scheme to get away from the green, the green. He started going to the pink, and Real Man Pink, the gaudy Shawn Michaels HBK 96 glasses with the little chains, the aesthetics. He's got the mouthpiece if he doesn't need talking.
Do you
Don
think
Callis.
him and Mercedes borrow those back and forth?
I just think they have someone who buys them for them, has a whole suitcase full of them out back, because who knows. But I'm just waiting for that pink TNT title. I'm waiting for that to get re-leathered and get a pink TNT title. We need it. We already had the Scissors, the Trios title is pink. Why can't we have the TNT title be pink?
So I shouted this out on our last live. I want to see somehow, some way, a title brought out at All Out in Toronto, because I think it would be really great to have the pink TNT title be brought out.
You were saying that Bret Hart should introduce the pink title. That would be cool if Bret Hart hands it to Kyle Fletcher and says, "Here you go." Like, it would be a cool
Some
little
kind
like,
of a nod.
yeah, like a good little like the rub, a good rub.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Kyle Fletcher's someone to keep an eye out. He's poised for the main event.
He definitely is. I think that Kyle Fletcher is just gravitating to everything that he does. You're watching. When he's on the mic, you're listening. When Kyle Fletcher's there, your attention is on him, and
he's the protostar for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, he commands a presence when he's in the ring. He's fantastic. He, again, hasn't really had a bad match. World's End was incredible. World's End, he really showed himself who he was. Then, again, the cage match at Revolution, one of the craziest cage matches I've seen in a long time.
The picture of them
Just
standing
staring.
across from each other is living in my brain rent-free, and I don't hate it.
Honestly, I know, again, outsiders, this is a very hot take, controversial take. Get him in the G1 next year. Even if I'm not saying have him go far with it, but even have him win a couple matches, have him be someone that kind of helps elevate some of the talent in New Japan, like him versus Yota Tsuji would be fantastic. I mean, he's someone I think that's been in New Japan. Why not? Like, he's been there. Like, I think that's the next step. Really elevate him more. I think next year is going to be the year for him. He could be in world title contention sooner rather than later. And that's the thing. A lot of these people could move up with the right push, with the right stories. A lot of people didn't think Orange Cassidy was ready for the spotlight a couple of years ago. A lot of people didn't think that Swerve, when he first came in, would be a world champion. Like, you can't doubt someone until they've got a chance to shine. It's like that old mentality. Get up, we're gonna give you the boots. You're either gonna run, you're either gonna walk, or you're gonna sit here. Like, you choose what to do. You take it, like you said, take that ball and roll with it, or are you just gonna fall flat? And I think that's what a lot of these people that we're talking about today do, is people who can take the ball and roll with it, and someone who is absolutely always down for the assignment, always making something out of nothing. Someone you absolutely, if you talked about beef earlier, you talked about body, so let's keep that going. Someone who played with your hair that you absolutely love. I'm just kidding.
That's not why I love Will Hobbs.
I know, but someone who I was going to say played with your hair was that gentle giant to you. Kind of, I think you had a soft spot for Will Hobbs then. I think you really kind of rooted for him a little extra hard because you saw how friendly he was. You saw how nice he was.
So I was genuinely because
you were scared
terrified.
of him.
I might have been a little drunk at first, but genuinely a little terrified because I'm 5'3" on a good day. I slouch quite a bit, I'll be quite real. So 5'3" on a good day. So to look at people like Kyle Fletcher, Will Hobbs, all these guys, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get in a picture now. Okay, where do I go? What do I do? And the way that he could sense that and just made it funny, you wouldn't think that Will Hobbs was funny.
He's probably one of the funniest people that I've seen.
He's known to be the backstage babysitter for children.
He runs around. He ran around the cruise making funny faces at you. I won't forget. We were walking down a hallway, and our kiddo Cam made just eye contact. He just waved hi, and Will Hobbs looks at me at first, starts mean bugging, starts making a face, gets down, chases towards him. He has that natural charisma. He has that charm, and that carries over in the ring. And right now, him with the Ops, with the trio title, him with Samoa Joe, it's getting that legitimacy to him because his TNT title run wasn't really long enough. Didn't really.
I sometimes forget he had it, sadly.
Exactly. It was a very hot potato run. This now, at least, it's a belt. Again, get it back in that TNT title picture. Have him be the one to eventually dethrone Fletcher. Have a run with that. Have the open challenge. Who's going to face, the monster this week? Who's going to face Powerhouse this week? Who's going to face the test? Who wants to put a chapter in the Book of Hobbs? You have so much to do with that. He's such potential. And his sidewalk slam, his power slips, the way he does his moves in the ring, he looks like he's destroying you, but he's probably protecting them. He looks like he's good at doing his job. And again, beef. I think it's going to be another kind of division where we're going to see a lot of big men step up now because you've seen a lot of the high flying. It seems like AEW kind of has a style where you never know. And I teased it earlier before we go on. The reason why I think the styles are starting to kind of melt and you're seeing more is, well, they just hired a new coach who from England, an old England UK veteran. They've been hiring, obviously Jerry Lynn in the past where he's working there as a producer. So you have people who are trained in British strong style working backstage now. You have people who are trained in classical or PWG. You have people who are trained multiple different styles working backstage, helping these athletes to decide what style works for them, what works the best. You have the training opportunities with New Japan and Stardom, CMLL. I think we're seeing those styles because AEW, Tony Khan recognized that it's not one style of wrestling that's going to work for us. We're the alternative. It's we want to be the buffet. We want to be that melting pot of styles. You're going to get some strong style. You're going to get some lucha libre. You're going to get some technical wrestling. And Powerhouse Hobbs is someone, again, he can work with all those different styles. You can put him in a match with a lucha libre, like, and it'll be fantastic. Put him against Beast Mordos, and I'm front row, ready to go. Like, he's someone that can really, really rise up the ranks.
I think that Will Hobbs has not quite had that shine yet, and it's just waiting. All you have to do is truly open up the bottle and it's gonna explode. He's ready to go, and I think that that's so important to recognize in talent, is that you have someone that's right there ready to grab the baton and run.
No, I agree. And I'm excited to see, what these people we talk about are doing. And someone who I think is going to take the most of their opportunities, someone I think that is paying their dues right now so they can get a bigger push later, is Claudio. And I think that's the next person. So I want to ask your thoughts on Claudio, since you saw him in the bar and then now you've seen him in AEW. So you've seen a good few years of Claudio and how he wrestles. So you kind of know what you're getting. So what do you think, Claudio? I'm not saying main event, but what are you thinking?
I want to remind the listeners that don't quite listen to us often, I started watching wrestling in 2014. So for me, Cesaro was a very prominent figure in WWE at that time. So I didn't know about the rest of wrestling until 2019 when AEW formed and I deep dove into professional wrestling as a whole. So for me, seeing Claudio come out and just be this completely different wrestler, especially with the Death Riders, to see him just be this brutal asshole, unhinged, what the actual fuck are you doing? Stop being mean to Wheeler Yuta. I'm tired of you treating him like poop. Yeah, I genuinely enjoy what Claudio has going. But also, again, stop being mean to my man, Wheeler Yuta.
No, I love it because you have seen him kind of go into this brutal role when he joined the BCC and as
Totally
a surprise
different.
member and came out and showed you his Ring of Honor, Claudio. He showed you the technical skills. He, like you said, they unlocked him. They put the key in to go, Claudio, go do your thing. Didn't hold back. And you're seeing the more brutal side of Claudio. You're seeing what, as Eddie Kingston pointed out, the real Claudio, the jackass. And I think he's someone that he's worked with Darby and kind of helped get that ready for Jon Moxley. He's worked with a lot of the veterans. He's worked a lot of mid cards. Tag team division definitely needs some, more people in it. Brody King and Brodito, they need someone. Why not having a Claudio when Pac comes back, start being the tag team of the Death Riders again, start kind of going and having these matches where they can have amazing chemistry. I'm not saying get the tag titles, but I'm saying get in that division, have Claudio kind of show what he can do in the tag team division as well as singles. I think there's a lot of possibilities with him because he's another versatile person who has such a unique skill set.
Sorry, I thought we were talking about humble people, and then you brought that up.
No, I just meant I was trying to think for tag team partners who he could probably realistically tag with that he's tagged with in the past.
Obviously, him and Wheeler Yuta really do have a chemistry. It's just funny to be seriously, why?
I mean, I'd love to see, it'll probably never happen. I'd love to see a tag match at least once, Claudio and Bryan Danielson one more time. I know it'll probably not happen, but I thought they had something too. But again, we don't know. It could be, Claudio could be the one to want to turn on Moxley and could get that main event rub. And I think he is in a good place, and I think he chose AEW for a reason. And I think he's getting the spotlight. He's on TV every week, so he's getting the spotlight he deserves. And I think he's someone who's kind of bound to take that next step too, especially with more opportunities present. And the reason why I wanted to mention Nathan Cruz earlier, the coach that they hired from the UK, is because we have the next person really posed to break out here. Windsor! Alex Windsor.
I absolutely adore her. I think that she has brought charisma to the next level. It was like she's been in AEW from the start. It is really, truly she just her chemistry with everyone, and knowing who she's trained with, knowing who she's worked with, it really makes so much sense as to why her chemistry meshes so well with the roster. And I love the newfound women's division of AEW is beautiful. Like every little piece of the roster is in just
Emily's in heaven because
incredible.
it's some beautiful storytelling, and you'll have to stay tuned because in our next segment, after we get through a few more of these, we are going to talk about the women's division because there's something coming up that we think is really big. Speaking of beautiful, I think you're going to want to stick around for this because you have such potential right now. Again, with that screen time available, those segments available, you got to fill it with quality wrestling. The women's division right now is quality wrestling. Alex Windsor, I talked about Ace Austin coming in and feeling like she's come in. It felt like she's been in AEW for 5 years.
Yes.
She's already inserted with Mercedes. She's going against Mercedes. She's been a Rev Pro champion. She's been a champion. She's going against Mercedes one-on-one dynamite. She gets her one-on-one shot. She heard those people out there with those disgusting, no, nepotism signing Will Ospreay. And she goes, F you, I'm Windsor, come watch me work. And she's basically shut everyone up. Like within her first week, she shut all the haters up. And I'm glad that she's showing everybody this is why she got her contract, because she is amazing. And I think her and Bozilla eventually could return. You see her working with a returning Jamie Hayter, her with Tekla, who seems, like we said earlier, has everyone as an enemy. Her with Megan Bain. There's so much opportunity. Her and Camille. She put on a story with everyone. I can see again someone who could be in the TBS, someone who could dethrone Tony Storm with the right story. There's so many women in this division, and Alex Windsor fits in. She can tell the right stories. Like you said, she has that history. She has that chemistry. And talk about personal. We've talked about it before, but meeting her on the cruise, she was so laid back and so friendly. And just, again, we talked more about the movie Sonic 3 than we did wrestling because she was just so humble. It was just, saw Cam was wearing, Sonic and Knuckles on his shirt. It was like, oh, we just watched that movie. And just, it was nice to see her behind the Alex Windsor. That I just enjoyed it. And I think she's in for a big run, and if you haven't seen a lot of her, stay tuned because I think you'll be very surprised.
Yeah, I think that we have quite a bit to unpack as far as Alex Windsor is concerned in AEW. And the sky is the limit with this woman. She has overcome so much, and she is here. I think that is one of the biggest things to take away from this is that Alex is here to wrestle and show you why she deserved the spot.
I agree. I think she's ready for that spot. She's ready to shine. And this one we won't go too much on, but this one I wanted to bring a special mention, Orange Cassidy. I think when we last saw him, he was getting back in that main event scene. He's earned that main event scene. Moxley's still out there trying to recruit a certain someone. Moxley's still out there trying to do damage. He's not going after the world title right now. He's realized Hangman's his fodder. Hangman got him. But he still has to pay for his sins. He still has to pay for what he's done to AEW. Orange Cassidy is someone that's going to come back and is immediately going to be that veteran that can help bring some of these younger stars up. He's going to be able to help, whether it's teaming with someone, whether it's bringing back the best friends, whether it's inserting himself with the new Jurassic Express, as a trio to help. He's going to help elevate the next round. I think he's been the workhorse. Now he's going to be a reliable veteran. I think he slips into the reliable veteran role, the role that he needed when he first came in. I think this is now the Orange Cassidy that's now that reliable veteran that's going to help elevate other people. I think he's now at that point in his career where he's going to start. He's still going to have a chance and go to the top, but I think he's going to start bringing people up.
Yeah, this is someone we talked about early on. We both have Orange Cassidy on our list, but for very different reasons. I want Orange Cassidy to come back through and show us that international.
She wants the workhorse run again.
I want a workhorse run. I don't need a champion. I need him to
Open
show
Diamond
up and literally just be there and try. Just come back and try. I think that Orange Cassidy has that magic. He has the gravitational pull with the children as far as him being cosplayed. How adults cosplay. Like,
I mean, you saw our video at the end of our last episode. If you check out the Orange Cassidy from Chill the Champion, now streaming on YouTube, We have a video with people dressed up as him, and it's about 90 seconds long because a lot of people sent in pictures of videos.
And I think that that is something that AEW needs again, are the people. We don't need Macho Man at AEW, okay? We need Orange Cassidy's, Darby's, we need the Jerichos, the Le Champions. We need all of these fun AEW cosplays in the crowd. Bring
like
that back. I think that before we move on completely from Orange Cassidy, including this Darby, we need to talk about the shift that could happen with these guys.
Okay, so what's the shift with Orange you're thinking?
Orange Cassidy went from wearing very light denim to darker denim to black denim. And I'm wondering if it's because he is going to unleash a darker side of himself and he's going to pull out. Because think about how long he's been out
Asshole
and
Cassidy.
he's going to be training. And I bet you anything he's going to come back stronger, better, everything precise. You watched Orange Cassidy work his core from the very beginning because of the sloth style that he has. He has to be muscular. He has to put that work in. Can you imagine how much work this man's put in while he's been gone?
I agree. I like it. I like seeing that dark pulp Orange Cassidy. I don't know what they call it. Blood orange?
Yes, we've always wanted that. The blood
I just don't like
orange.
that BO's the initials because there's enough BO in the wrestling crowd, so I don't think we want that initial. But deodorant works. It's pretty cheap too. So I had to put this picture of Darby up because this was such a crazy shot from this past week's Dynamite of him writing all out in his own blood and then setting it on fire to challenge Jon Moxley. So Darby said on top of fucking Mount Everest, which is wild in itself, that he's going to take everything from Jon Moxley when he comes down. Remember the end of Wrestle Dream. You had Darby Allin sobbing watching what Moxley did to Brian Danielson. You had Orange Cassidy looking downtrodden. Next to him, you had Daniel Garcia putting his arm on Hook, saying it was okay. And then you had Mark Briscoe pacing back and forth. So you had the big baby faces upset, but nobody looked more crushed than Darby. And Darby has kind of took the lead to be that guy to take down the Death Riders. He wanted to, and now he's in this, I don't care if I have to die to take you out. And that's what he's doing. I mean, he just got thrown by Claudio. He got yeeted to the announce table. I think I've seen that clip like 115 times. Like, poor Darby. He's been thrown down the stairs, but he's reckless. He's chaotic. He's charismatic. He's crazy. And I think he's in that main event picture, and I think he's going to do what it takes. I think he's going to get his hands on Moxley. Moxley's going to be that veteran that's going to help. I think Darby gets to the next level here. A lot of people are like, oh, well, Darby's not ready for the world title. I think bullshit. I think Darby has been ready for the world title. It just needs to be at the right time. You couldn't take away Hangman's moment. The titles matter. Storylines for why you get them matter. This could be the next story. Something could happen that this is the next story. What if MJF's eventually the one to take it from Hangman, and then Darby finally gets to beat MJF for the title? So he's beaten Moxley and he's beaten MJF, the two pain in the asses in his side his whole career. And I think that's what his next is. So Darby's already had the mega push, but now I think we're solidifying him. We're putting him into championship level status now. I think he is going into that 6 to 12 month stretch where he's going to come out with a world title sooner rather than later.
So this is why you had Darby. I had Darby for his TNT title run. I think that Darby's TNT title runs, he really broadcast that title belt. Everything about it was because of the fans. Like, the fans put me here. His gratitude towards everyone. The ability to be such a baby face while still being so reckless.
He's the modern day Jeff Hardy.
Incredible. And I think that he just had the skate foundation.
Yeah, he's building a new park for his community, new skate park.
And he's not just going to be doing it in his community. He's looking to build elsewhere as well. And I think that that's something so impactful and so huge for communities. And that's what Darby Allin brings. Again, just like Orange Cassidy, bring us these cosplays. There's a reason people dress up as fucking Darby Allin. Our child in 2019 for Halloween wanted to be Darby Allin, and I said, Bud, people are just going to think that you're a half a skeleton and that's okay.
And now they know who he is.
And now majority of people would know if he went door to door who the fuck Darby Allin is. I could put some frostbite on his nose this year and we could go out again and he's 5-6 years older. I think that the fact, again, that Darby Allin did not think people would recognize him without face paint when we first met him in 2020. I find it just unbelievable.
And now he's that person that's climbing top of the world Mount Everest, doing the most crazy stunts, living his dream, being passionate, had was involved in one of the greatest retirement matches. And, people criticize him because he left, his momentum was high and he left and climbed Mount Everest. He went and crushed another goal. I think he's the person that maybe the world title wasn't the goal at that moment. Maybe it'll be the goal sooner or later, but I think he's going to tell the right story, because another thing he's good at is video editing, videography, telling the right story. So between him being recognized in the community, like you said, and all those others, he's also producing content so people can recognize him more.
And I think that's also something he brings into AEW. But to go along with this, he doesn't just wrestle. He doesn't just do these little things. He's going out into communities. He's going out on media runs. He's making the rounds. Exactly.
He is the person you want.
He is that homegrown baby face. Like, he is the epitome of the original AEW pillar for a reason. And that's just it, is that Darby Allin will forever be someone that we adore for multiple reasons, but the fact that he did leave after training, not for 1, but 2 years. Normally, you don't do that to climb Mount Everest.
Well, I mean, he didn't really leave for 2 years. He tried to go.
No, I'm saying his training was 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's way more than most people get for that. And you've seen him now with a different mindset. He's really honed in. He
wants to burn down the Death Riders. He wants to burn down the Death Riders.
Yeah.
And, we talked about meat earlier.
He's got a license for a flamethrower.
We talked about beef earlier, and someone who just came back did not think they were going to align with the Don Callis family, because Don Callis family, like he said, has 300 contracts, has every single person. Wardlow has returned. Someone who we've been high on since we first saw him with MGF, and we thought he was going to return with a Pinnacle. Now poised to be a big push in AEW, and he seems to be a big presence again. And I think Don Callis is the right person to speak on his behalf. Kind of let that monster go and let us see what Wardlow can do, because he's always had those hot and cold pushes. But I think now's the time for Wardlow. I think now's the time. Dedicated match. Him and Big Bill, him and Powerhouse Hobbs, him and Bandito. There's so many matches he can have that will be incredible in.
You know who I want to see him team up with?
Who's that?
Lance Archer. Very similar styles, and I think that the Powerbomb Symphony would go really well with his style.
I think so. I mean, I think that's, while you have Brian Cage recovering, which, think of that unit there. You have Brian Cage, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Wardlow on the same side. That's terrifying. They could be the ones to take the trios titles.
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential. I think MJF is still calling. I think eventually there's got to be that run back with MJF. There's a lot of people we don't have pictures wise. I know you're making a curious look. Because there was a limit on how many pictures I could put on this.
No.
What are you looking at? Because you're throwing me off.
Don't worry about it. I am wondering, who was it that Don Callis was saying he had an opponent for?
When?
Isn't it this week?
Well, he's trying to get back in the world title picture, and we don't know who his challenger is going to be. Yes,
Wardlow. I thought that the second I saw it.
It could be because he was next to him when he was talking about it, so they did put the camera angle next to him. But again, I think he's someone that needs. Speaking of the TNT title run, that kind of was hot potatoed for no reason, and that was kind of it. Now, I chose this picture for a reason. We already talked about Orange Cassidy. We already talked about Darby. Hook's over here. Unfortunately, this cut off, but we have Daniel Garcia and Hook. So I want to talk about Daniel Garcia first, because I have this big theory, and we teased it at the beginning of the show, and here's where it is. We've seen Moxley trying to recruit him lately. Well, why? What's he saying to him? He doesn't care about Garcia. What he cares about is being better than Bryan Danielson. The one thing Bryan Danielson could not do was recruit Daniel Garcia. He tried. He's a wrestler. Emily quotes every time Daniel Garcia is brought up in a conversation about, "You're a wrestler, Danny." is that storyline. Back in 2022 when he was fighting for the Ring of Honor title against Chris Jericho, I remember he shoves Jericho, Psycho knee. Bryan Danielson's going to get the ROH title, and he betrays Bryan Danielson. It was just such heartbreak because he chose the JAS. He turned down the BCC even though he had bled with them. He had beaten Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson beat him twice. And Bryan cut this passionate promo after how he's so disappointed because if he was in the BCC, he was going to have direction, and he would have treated him like a son. He would have been the best mentor. Well, here's something Moxley said a little while after. He talked about Wheeler Yuta when he recruited Wheeler Yuta. The biggest problem he had with Bryan Danielson is he let Wheeler go soft. He didn't make Wheeler Yuta a killer. He didn't make Wheeler Yuta be the person to finish the job. What kind of mentor is that? Now, Daniel Garcia's been cutting these promos lately after his loss. I made a mistake. No one beat me. I beat myself because I always make mistakes. And now he's calling out Moxley. He wants to bleed Moxley because he said, you didn't beat me. You rolled me up. So let's run it back one more time. And they're going to. So I think this is Moxley knows. Moxley knows the win doesn't matter to Moxley. What matters is winning his loyalty. So I think we see Garcia winning on Dynamite. And I think we see him joining the Death Riders because I think we see Moxley doing what Bryan couldn't, is recruit Garcia. And I think that's the next level for Garcia. Is you thought he was going to be the babyface, take down the Death Riders, but really, he's going to be the one who joins because he kind of admired what John did. He said he liked the killer instinct. So he's been planting the seeds for over a year. When this happened, he said, Renee, it's not the best thing to happen. It was gross. I can't believe that's how Bryan, but Moxley wasn't wrong. I mean, no one's going to change. Someone had to take the ball and run with it. Look what Swerve did. He broke into a house. Hangman burned down a house. Maybe John was right because he had the balls to do something. Not that I want to glorify it. So he's already planted those seeds before. I'm just saying.
So for me, I think that Garcia, he was able to get over with the fan base with the JAS. He was able to be charismatic, whatever that word was I was trying to say. Charismatic. He was able to bring in a fan base for himself because when you look at the Death Riders, they don't really have like a fan base. They don't have like just...
I mean, I would hope not because they're heels.
Exactly. So you had to give him a face and you had to give him a little bit to work with in order to turn him. And I don't want to see it, but I could see it happening because I could see him really gravitating to, he's a wrestler. When you look at the JAS versus the Death Riders, you see the charismatic and the persona versus the wrestling.
And that was a big thing, like here in the BCC, we're focused on wrestling, focused on winning, and the Death Riders just became the BCC with a killer instinct, essentially.
Their souls left their bodies.
And that's what it is. And I think Red Death, again, all the clues are there. And
yes, he's been wearing so much red.
People want to talk about, there's no long-term story, but after his feud with MJF, he mentions MJF being ruthless. When he talked about the people he looks up to in this business, he said Swerve, Hangman, MJF, and Moxley because they do what it takes to win. So he's going to follow in their footsteps. He's going to blur lines. Maybe he's going to be like Yuta, be a little conflicted, not go full Death Rider, but he's going to be conflicted. So I think that's where he elevates.
And I think that's when Yuta leaves.
And
I think that's what it takes for Yuta to really leave, is to see how replaceable he is.
Or to see maybe
they constantly put him in the line of fire.
And I think that's how we get Bryan back. I think it's Yuta getting Bryan back because,
like, I needed you. Where were you?
They're showing the lineage of this story. They're showing that this was the BCC. Bryan was like the mentor because he was the veteran, and Moxley was the ruthless one. So it's, you have Eddie Kingston still in the fold. You have all these other people in the fold that can bring this story to a close. And before we get to our final segment for the women's division, I kind of wanted to do, so I'm going to turn this off for a second before we get to our final one. Just any ones that we might have missed to quickly go over, because I know anyone that you wanted to bring up.
Jet Speed. I'm dying to talk about Speedball. Mike fucking Bailey. I am in love with his AEW run. Another person that felt like years in the making for AEW.
He wasn't with AEW in 2019? He
for
felt
real,
like it.
Though, like, everything that Mike has done throughout has been I feel like to get to this destination, this is where he's supposed to be. And did we think that it would be with Kevin Knight?
And Kevin Knight's already
but they
shown
are
his
phenomenal
charisma.
together.
And even apart, Kevin Knight shown his charisma. Kevin Knight has shown they both went one-on-one with Moxley. They both have shown they can wrestle. Speedball's wrestled Okada. They both have shown they can have, when the lights shine the brightest. The Continental Classics in London this year, people. It's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be Speedball. It's going to be all these people who are great in the ring. Another one that we kind of didn't mention that I want to bring up is Okada real quick. We don't have to go too long on him because we have an episode we're going to be working on. Stay by for that one. But he's poised to kind of be that second top dog behind Hangman. He's poised to be that. So that's why I think the Takeshita thing works, because Okada's going to be that heel that you just want to see lose. But think about, they're going to get him to that tournament again in London to make it. But this time he's going to lose in the tournament, I think. So I think this is the way you crown, because if Takeshita beats him at the Continental Classic, beats him in his own game, he's won the G1, now he's won the Continental Classic. I think Okada does his job. He helps lift Takeshita to that next level, and Okada does what he does, which is go out and have great matches. Sorry he's not wrestling bangers every week and every month. He's doing what the heels do. He's showing up, and he works when he wants to work, and it works for him. So who's next on your list real quick?
No one understands how often I reference bitch, especially this past weekend.
Yeah, there's other things you want to say, but we don't want to get kicked off our own show.
Someone else that we did not bring up is Ricochet and the Mogul Embassy.
Gates of Agony.
Oh my gosh, every time, guys.
I know. The Mogul Embassy when they were Swerve. But yes, I love the Gates of Agony and Ricochet. I think it's a natural pairing. Ricochet is already that mega heel. He's someone that's just going to continue to rise up. He's already proven he's funny. Like, he's already proven he can talk on the mic. Gates of Agony, they look dangerous in the tag division. They look like they could take everyone on, take everyone out. They look like a force to be reckoned with.
They are power. Definite power.
You want to talk about body guys getting in some good shape. Holy crap. They look in phenomenal shape. Ricochet, phenomenal shape. GOA, phenomenal shape. They just look like they're chiseled from stone and ready to go. And it's someone who, if you want to give me the ultimate four-way match, Tony talks about Meat Mania. Here's what I want. I want GOA. I want Luchasaurus. And I want Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah.
Or I want, even Pace Powerhouse Hobbs, Beast Mordos. Just put a bunch of fucking beef in that match of Wrestling Go. Just watch. I mean, reinforce the ring, obviously. But I think something like that.
Do you remember when we had like an 8-man beef match live?
It never really happened. We were supposed to. That's what I'm talking about, the Beef Mania, the whatever.
Yeah.
Meat Mania, that's what it was. Remember,
was that Revolution?
Yes, because remember it was changed because of injuries and stuff. We were supposed to be at that one.
We were. So
you got robbed of your meat.
Oh. So I feel like we need that beef. You could give us an 8-man Ace Austin, Ricochet. You've got Beast Mordos. You've got Luchasaurus. You've got the
Brian
Mogul
Cage.
Embassy. Oh my God, I did it again. The Gates of Agony.
So who else do you have on your list?
I'm out.
You're out? Because I have one more that we haven't talked about, and that's the Fallen Goddess, Athena. I think Athena is poised.
Oh, I thought we were saving all of the women.
Oh, well,
we have quite a bit of women.
Well, we don't have too much time to go into depth. What I wanted to do for the women's is talk about the women's blood and guts.
You gotta make that big.
You gotta make that big.
Make it big.
Well, I can't cover up everything. So we're going to go ahead. And for those who are listening on auto, she's talking about the picture, nothing else. So the women's blood and guts. Before we start real quick, I want to say I think Athena needs to be TBS champion. I think what you do, you have Mercedes say, I want your Ring of Honor title. Maybe she says, I want your TBS title. They do a title for title. Instead of Mercedes getting it, Athena does. And then you have that downfall of the belt collector where she starts clutching all those titles, or she goes after other red titles to get her 10. But maybe you have her go after Mercedes, or maybe her and Mercedes become friends and they rule the world with all the titles together and she takes 2. Who knows? But Athena is poised for a breakout year. But the women's division, like we mentioned earlier, it's stacked. And with like all the women we have, who do you see for blood and guts, or who do you want to see in blood and guts? So 5-on-5.
All right, so I feel like it's pretty obvious who the 5-on-5 should be. because you have the Triangle of Madness, and then you have
Megan Bain and Penelope Ford.
Yeah, you have all these different women working together at this moment. You've got Chris Statlander and Willow trying to figure out how to get along.
And now you have Queen Aminata liking Hater because Hater hates Thekla, so you have that pairing.
Yes, so everything in the women's division, there's not a wrong answer here. However, if you want to give the women kind of what they deserve, I would say TJ and Willow need to be involved in this because they did progress the revolution of women being in hardcore matches on AEW with their first street fight.
I would say, though, it's not always about because they were in the first street fight, because it's got to make sense for the story, too. So I agree that maybe even Hater not being in there because she just came back, but maybe if you even do maybe you do have Anna Jay and you do have Statlander and you do have Harley because maybe they need Harley to be funny. Harley can just be scared and climbing no, I don't want to go over there. But then you can have this serious, but you have Bane and Statlander a chance to square off. And I think, yeah, you're right. I think you're going to see the Triangle of Madness, Bane and Penelope on one side, and then you're going to see Aminata, you're going to see Anna Jay, you're going to see Harley, you're going to see Willow, and you're going to see Statlander on the other side. And it's going to be, can they coexist for Willow and Stat? But they're starting to break. They're starting to ease back into the, I don't want to be friends, but we'll be friendly. But Statlander's also going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs right now. She's coming out like shredding paper, throwing it around to people, trying to get recruited by a Death Rider. So where do we see Statlander going?
She's not trying, okay? I don't want this.
Well, Moxley's trying. She's not trying.
So something...
Or Yuta. Who's trying more? Probably Yuta.
Probably. So something that I think is interesting also is you could have Tay Conti on the outside putting weapons like kendo sticks through the holes. There's so many things that could go into
Marina Shafir could interfere because she wants to try to turn, or because of Chris. Like she's mad. Remember, she was mad that Yuta was talking to her, so she could be mad at everyone on that side. Almost like they could hire her as a mercenary.
I still don't see anybody but Shayna Baszler teaming up with Marina.
I'm not saying she's going to team up and be a member. She's going to be someone who interferes in the match.
Okay.
Like, because she hates Chris Statlander and she hates Willow. So, again, you could see Baszler come out to try to help even the odds. And then, again, you build these tag titles that we were talking about at the top of the show. And I think that's a great way to end is Next Wave doesn't just mean who's going to fill the role Ospreay and who's going to fill Swerve, because nobody's going to fill their shoes, fill their role.
Nope.
But again, you have segments that are going to be available. You have, whether backstage, pre-tapes, TV time, rings. They're going to have to structure the cards. Let's give more time to the women to see what they can do. Let's give more time to the people we mentioned to see what they can do. So I think that's kind of the message I hope to give out of this episode is, out of all we talked about, who do you guys, let us know in the comments below, who do you think will kind of be like the next wave of people to kind of step up and fill those gaps for those missing TV times, missing matches? Who do you kind of think should be? Who do we miss? Who do you disagree with us? Let us know in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, put the notifications on first as well, but that's what I want to know. What about you?
Yeah, I think that you have to think about who's going to not only open the show, but also have a running story through the entire episode. And it doesn't need to be just one person. We can see that being passed back and forth between a bunch of different people. And I really, truly think that we have such a diverse roster of everyone, men, women, everything going into it. The trios, the tags, every title is just oozing right now. Every little piece of AEW is on fire, and it's beautiful.
It's on. It's oozing. It's on fire.
Mm-hmm. It's like it's Halloween time.
Listen, you were in Halloween stuff in like February.
All year. Who doesn't?
I mean, yeah, but I guess that kind of wraps up our Next Wave episode, and I enjoyed kind of talking about who we're looking forward to seeing. So I appreciate everyone for listening. Make sure you guys are tuned in. Leave us a 5-star Fox Splash review. We appreciate everything. We appreciate you guys listening, subscribing. We're on the road to 20K. So thank you guys so much for following along with us. We appreciate the support. We couldn't do without you. But we must bid you good night. We must bid you adieu. Till next time, remember, always
keep
the kayfabe.